What's happening? Nick Olson, Chupacabra, Off-Road, and last night Polaris unveiled the Turbo Pro XP 2020. Let's talk about it, check out the specs, and see how it stacks up against the Can-Am X3. So if you're like me in the Southwest, everyone was hoping for a new game changer release unit, 72-inch wide, potentially non-CVT. Well, we didn't get all those type of things, but what we got is an all-new chassis that is very refined compared to the previous chassis, which really hit the ground for customers back in 2013 and has had a few iterations up to the current Turbo S model. So a couple of the basic statistics. The vehicle wheelbase has been stretched from about 90 to 96 inches. The horsepower has been bumped up from 168 to 181 horsepower. The wheel travel is up a little bit from the 64-inch wide model. The new Pro XP is 17 inches of front wheel travel and 20 inches of rear wheel travel. I think the biggest improvement of the whole vehicle is the interior. We finally got some high quality seats which are on a sliding mechanism. There's a lot of adjustment for the angle and 50% increase of going forward and back. There's more leg room as the wheelbase is a little bit longer. Upgraded steering wheel, upgraded dash, all the fit and finish features that Polaris has always been chastised for and being behind the game, they've definitely stepped up. And to me, just going off of photos, I haven't sat in one, I haven't driven one, but I'd say this is probably the nicest interior of any side-by-side we've ever seen. So a little bit more horsepower, but of course the vehicle is heavier at 1,736 pounds, and that's due to the beefier driveline components. There's an all-new transmission. The turbo's a little bit bigger, which is how they get to 181 horse. The turbo's also water-cooled. There's lots more storage in the rear, and one thing I like about the rear storage box is with 4 screws, the whole thing pulls out so you can easily get to your motor and, more importantly, just kind of clean your vehicle out over those dirty, muddy rides. The fuel cell goes from 9.5 gallons up to 12 gallons, which is nice to see. We can always use more fuel, especially these turbo vehicles. They just eat a lot of fuel, particularly in the sand. All 3 Pro XP models get a 900 watt stator and 30-inch Maxxis Carnivore tires, so it's good to see a beefier real-world tire that's about 33 pounds out of the gate. A lot beefier than the big Horn 2.0s that have come on previous version 64-inch Polaris RZR 1000 and turbo models. It's important to mention that of all 3 of the models, none of which come with a roof or beadlocks, and they come with most of the doors you can see in the photos, but they also sell a little door insert to completely close off the side of the vehicle. So we found a great video of one of the product engineers, Pat McArdle, doing a complete walk around of all the little nuances and changes. We're going to link it below in the description. I highly recommend that you check it out. It's about 10 minutes and you're going to see all the little thought and design changes that went into making this chassis better, more refined. Little things like the roll cage has been increased in stiffness because the diameter of the tubing has gone from 1.75 to 2 inches. There's a continuous tube that runs from the front of the vehicle all the way to the back. So a lot of thought went into how do we just really refine every element of this car, and that video is great. Like, there's just a lot of thoughtfulness in what they put into getting the clutches to run cooler, how they redesigned, and the thought process of all the elements. Simple things like the clutch cover, all the bolts stay in the clutch covers. You don't have to worry about dropping those in the sand, which we've all done probably 100 times. So the base model starts off at $22,999. Again, 64 inches wide, come with the base 30-inch Carnivore tires, Walker Evans needle shocks. The mid-level premium version is $24,500. What you get for that additional money are the Click 6 harnesses, the telescoping steering wheel, which is a nice touch, premium paint, and LED accent lighting. So for $28,500, you're getting the Fox shocks with the Dynamics 2.0 suspension setup. So the Dynamics 2.0 system just is a little bit more refined. There's an oh crap button on the steering wheel that puts the shocks to the full stiff setting if you're about ready to hit a big G out or a wash, and it reacts quicker to the terrain. This version also has a Rockford Fosgate stereo, and as well as a Ride Command GPS head unit, which has also been updated and refined and will work with other members in your ride group without needing a GPS signal like it used to. So as it relates to the 2020 line, Polaris didn't change anything at all with the 1000, the RZR Turbo, and the Turbo S. Those price points and feature benefit are all the same. It's pretty much just BNG, bold new graphics and colors. And now things get really confusing. We've got So many more options of Polaris models, and we've got even more of the Can-Am. Customers this fall, I think, are going to have a lot of work to do, and it's really going to boil down to price. What are you getting for your money? What do you think is a high value? Is Dynamics worth the money? Do you not care? Is 72-inch wide non-negotiable? These are the type of things that you're going to have to figure out before you go make your purchase if you're looking to buy something new this riding season. The Turbo S Velocity remains unchanged, but Polaris dropped the price down to $22,500. Couple that with Can-Am's X3 XRS Turbo R model, which is 172 horsepower at $22,500. And both of those stack up really aggressively to this base model Pro XP. Can-Am earns the title again of Horsepower King, 195 horsepower on the Turbo RR model. That model is $27,500, and also the Razor Turbo S Dynamics is $28,200. So, in my opinion, the Pro XP is not going to sell that well because it's a premium price point for a 64-inch wide vehicle, and most of us that have driven or owned a 72-inch wide kind of realize in the Southwest like it's kind of a deal breaker. It's significantly more stable. It's better pretty much for all of our type of terrain that we ride. We don't have any width restrictions. So yes, I think this new chassis, not having driven it, is probably better. It's stiffer, it's more refined, it's roomier, it's a nicer, longer wheelbase, closer to the X3 XRS wheelbase, which I love. But I'm going to wait. It's obvious that Polaris is going to take this chassis. They even allude to it in their presentation. Probably going to see a 4-seat version of it here at the Sand Show, I would assume, and then a 72-inch wide within the next years would be my guess. If I'm buying a new 2-seater tomorrow, I'd pick up a leftover 2019 Can-Am X3 XRS, 172 horsepower with the smart lock. I think you're seeing those in the local marketplace for around $23,500 out the door. Amazing bang for the buck. Yeah, it doesn't have ride command, but it does have shocks with a lot more shock stroke than the Polaris models, more wheel travel, and they're very tunable. The horsepower is great. I rented I drove the 4-seat XRS in Glamis. I love the horsepower of the Can-Am X3. I do think with the Can-Am there are some potential reliability issues and other things you need to beef up. Of course, the bulkhead, the stator doesn't push as many electronic accessories as the Polaris as easily. Guys are talking about some potential issues with the steering rack. So apples to apples, it's really hard. It's really personal preference. But if it's my money, 2-seater, I'd go Can-Am X3. Wheelbase, wheel travel, and I think the value is really high. There's a lot of aftermarket upgrades. You can easily bump up the horsepower, or if you're a real Glamis or horsepower sand junkie, the RR model is already 195, and I can only imagine what the tuner is going to get out of these things with the upgraded intercooler. Let us know what you think below. What's the best bang for your buck? Which model for model year 2020 2-seat side-by-side are you most excited to buy? Thanks for watching. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and we've got a lot more coming your way.